Dexter Resurrection is better than the original show. Because as someone that's watched over 125 serial killer movies, today I'll expose the 3 secret reasons this spin-off will do so exponentially well. In the original show, we follow a calculated, emotionless serial killer, a killer named Dexter Morgan. Surprisingly, Resurrection flips those adjectives and we now follow a lousy, emotional killer named Harrison Morgan. Already, this makes for such a unique plot for various reasons. This emotional type of kill shows Harrison is not an effective killer. So now, throughout the show, there is a consistent risk of Harrison being caught by the cops.
What's that?
Which subconsciously raises the stakes of the entire show. When we watch Dexter, deep down we know he'll figure it out and eventually come out undetected. But Harrison is so new to this occupation of murder, for the first time I genuinely don't know if his impulsive behavior will allow him to be free. That alone makes it so interesting, but Dexter Resurrection made another very clever move. They decided to cast the one and only Gadia Saraf. A name that won't ring a bell to you unless I show you who that is. This unknown actor is of such importance to the show because she plays the lead detective, Claudette Wallace.
We have body parts to find.
And if you've seen the first couple episodes, you know how genuinely smart she actually is.
What's her deal?
She sees things in ways we don't.
Just from running a few simple tests, she was able to figure out that Harrison got his first kill in this bathroom. Literally because it was too clean compared to the rest of the rooms in this hotel.
The abundance of fluids found in these rooms is normal, but vastly different from the room where the murder took place, which showed no bodily fluids at all, and that is far from normal. This proves that someone took extra care to clean something in that bathroom, and that something is almost certainly blood.
This is the level of genius that Harrison is faced against. And that dynamic is so brilliant because we have a rookie killer being hunted by a genius detective. The rookie has to be flawless to survive, but he simply isn't. He's emotional, he's sloppy, he's impulsive. And that means the walls will close in on him as the episodes continue to roll out one by one by one. Unfortunately for the NYPD, Harrison is Dexter Morgan's son, a man that would never allow for things to unfold unfavorably. Within the first 2 episodes, we already see him taking part in cleaning up his son's mess, removing the blood from the kitchen ceiling where Lil Harrison cut up his first victim. This once again brings us to another fantastic dynamic, a dynamic where the retired serial killer must now engage with an active killer who is also his son. This poses a very unique challenge, a challenge that is briefly addressed in this hallway.
And who helped you gain control? Learn from your mistakes.
It was always you.
Yes, your father. And Harrison needs that same guidance from his father.
He's figuring this out on his own, and he's doing a good job.
But Dexter, is doing a good job actually the right move? Think about it. Dexter has been a murderer for several years, so he understands the harsh realities of this lifestyle. The losses, the loneliness, the agony. So now, seeing his own son follow in his footsteps, what will Dexter Morgan do? It's such a fascinating question that has moral complications, ethical things, legal complications, which leads to so many possible answers. Does he reconnect with Harrison and guide him just like his father did, knowing this might lead to a very similar life of misery? Or does he continue to stay in the background and silently cover up Harrison's mistakes, which would allow him to learn on his own? And when I first watched this episode, I was genuinely baffled because it is truly such a unique scenario. I don't recall encountering it from any of these other movies I've ever seen. If you guys are interested in this type of stuff, there is one Korean film that is kind of similar. The film is called Memoir of a Murderer, where a retired serial killer realizes his daughter is dating a current serial killer. So if this stuff hooked you in, you should definitely check that out. Probably my favorite serial killer movie, genuinely, of all time. Technology is a beautiful thing. You're watching me on your device. You watch Dexter on your device. And most likely, NYPD will capture Dexter using their devices. Because for the first time, this show is set in the modern era. We aren't in prehistoric Miami where cameras don't exist. And we aren't in the snowy forest where nobody exists. So at last, we are providing a genuinely fascinating combination. Packed city of New York and the evolved technology. Watching Dexter maneuver through this type of era is a treat of its own. And I hope this real threat of technology and finding ways around it will be addressed in the following episodes, because it would literally force Dexter Morgan to evolve. And maybe for the first time, we'll genuinely get to see our beloved murderer think outside the box, working on new strategies that somehow keep him undercover in busy New York. The traditional method of popping a syringe in someone's neck and dragging them into a room covered in plastic is appealing, but in 2025, I think we can do better. In fact, most of you guys who watch a lot of serial killer content, you know that Dexter isn't even considered the best. There's people like Hannibal Lecter, Red John, and Villanelle that get things done a lot more discreetly, without having to eventually put a knife to a throat. In fact, in many shows, Dexter's method of one-on-one approaching someone is seen as spontaneous.
Обычно я не действую импульсивно, но
So thankfully, for the first time, I believe Dexter will have to flourish and join this higher tier of killers due to his very intense surroundings. Lucky for us though, physical surrounding isn't the only risky thing Dexter will have to face, because he must also address his online surroundings. If you guys have seen the Netflix show You, a show that stars another serial killer named Joe Goldberg, Joe's demise actually started from the fact that hundreds of people started talking about him online in Reddit forums. Whether it was testimonies or subtle pieces of information, it was all key information that tied to Joe Goldberg being a serial killer. And at that point, when you are exposed online, there is genuinely no running it. You cannot put all of social media onto your killing table. It can't happen. And so you will be forced to acknowledge it if you let it get to that point. What that means for Dexter is he must now take triple, quadruple extra precautions to avoid literally any suspicion. All it takes is one New Yorker to catch Dexter looking a little too suspicious, even if he's simply just standing there with his hood up, which leads to them posting his pictures on Reddit, and now the forums are made, people start to chime in. I wonder how his ex-wife died. Didn't that guy work for Miami PD? And we all know how this type of story ends. This point is very important because if no one's told you this yet, let me be the first to tell you. This is the riskiest environment Dexter has ever lived in, which adds a beautiful touch of realism to the show. Dexter won't be allowed to beat someone up in a public bar and go back to work the following day like nothing happened. And ladies and gentlemen, 3.1 million people. That is the number of viewers this show gained in its first 3 days of release, instantly making Dexter Resurrection Showtime's most streamed premiere of all time, surpassing every other spin-off by a very large percentage. And if you guys want to see more videos covering Dexter Morgan, click this playlist filled with serial killer content. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another Dexter video. Deuces!